Hi there, everybody. So I still have more to get through regarding these notes that I took when I did the interview, the chat with Pam Gregory, which so many people have watched. And we've had so many lovely comments on that video, loads of emails about that video, absolutely tons. I have read them all. And then I did a follow-up with some of the notes that we didn't get through. So when I knew that we were going to do a chat about these particular topics, the water, and also discussing the comet and leading up to the equinox, I took some notes and I asked the nine several questions about some of the metaphors within the transmissions. So the transmissions were the return of the mermaid and the Phoenix, Comet, Imbolc, Lammas transmission. So I wanted to clarify, which is what I do when I am writing the books. I will ask them lots of questions about the material that they're bringing forward as much as I can when I want to know further what the metaphors actually mean and have them unraveled more. And the nine reply to me. So I took a lot of notes, and obviously we didn't get through them at all in that interview. So I've done one follow-up. This is the second follow-up. I'm not sure if I will get through everything remaining even in this video, but we will see, because obviously I want to analyze this more and look at what the nine are actually saying, as there's such a lot of information here regarding where we're going in our future. Okay, so the next question that I asked them is, what are the ancient stargates of Albion, Avalon, and Agartha as domain, energetic outer world, and physical, etheric inner world? This was the piece where they mention this, so I'm just going to read that to you. And this is part of the transmission. They said, you know this time as the new supermoon of January 21st, a birth point, new dawn, new day for photonic light, plasma fields, and aurora phenomena through the reopening of the ancient stargates of Albion, Avalon, and Agartha as domain, energetic outer world, and physical, etheric inner world. So my question is, what are these ancient stargates? And this is what the nine replied. Each as flame letter metaphor through convergence, placement on the earth or within the imagination fields of hyperspace or heaven realms, aligning as one with physical surface dwelling, upgrading reality and inner earth awareness. So I discussed in the interview with Pam Gregory the flame letter metaphor through convergence, what that means. So if you haven't seen that interview with Pam Gregory, you can find that interview on Pam's YouTube, and it's also uploaded also now to my YouTube as well. So, and if you're not watching this on YouTube, eventually these videos will be uploaded to my alternative media of Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. I have brand new Tube as well, but I'm having trouble getting access into the site and uploading. So they may or may not be there. And if they are there, it might be months down the line. I don't know how long it's going to take. But my main three alternate medias are Rumble, BitChute, and brand new Tube. So please watch the interview with myself and Pam Gregory. And then I've done a follow-up, which is on my YouTube channel. So this is the second follow-up. But if you want to know what a flame letter metaphor through convergence is, that is explained in the interview with Pam. So what they're saying here is, with my question being, what are the ancient stargates of Albion, Avalon, and Agartha as domain, energetic outer world, and physical, etheric inner world? So Albion being the domain, Avalon being energetic outer world, and Agartha being physical, etheric inner world. And the nine have spoken to me before about Avalon and Agartha. It's the first time I think they've mentioned Albion. So my question was, what are the ancient stargates? So they're saying each as flame letter metaphor through convergence. So Albion as a domain has multiple meanings. Avalon as the energetic outer world has multiple meanings. And Agartha as the physical etheric inner world has multiple meanings. They then said placement on the earth or within the imagination fields of hyperspace or heaven realms. So what they're saying is Albion, Avalon, and Agartha as domain, energetic outer world, and physical etheric inner world are meaning multiple things, one of them being a placement on the earth, meaning a place, a structure, a country, a domain, so somewhere on the actual physical earth. But they also said all within the imagination fields of hyperspace or heaven realms. So we're looking at fifth dimensional antimatter presentation that you will find when you enter deep meditation, Merkaba work, or out-of-body experience, astral travel. So they're in both. They're in the physical world and in the non-physical world, Albion, Avalon, and Agartha, aligning as one with physical surface dwelling, upgrading reality. So these three structures, Albion, Avalon, and Agartha, align as one with physical surface dwelling, upgrading reality. So what that means is this is the physical structures on the earth that are upgrading. That includes humanity. So we're looking at everything that's going through from third dimension through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, or then I also discuss from the third density to the fourth density. So we're looking at geological changes within the actual structure of the earth and structures on the earth, including humanity. So Albion, Avalon, and Agartha as domain, energetic outer world, and physical etheric inner world are at one with the surface dwelling, upgrading reality and inner earth awareness. This is the awareness of inner earth. So this is the awareness of multiple dimensional states within our reality and within the earth and the geology of the land. So you're looking at dimensional upgrade, density shifts and changes. So everything on the outer world, the structures that are surface dwelling, including humanity, and inner earth awareness. Now, I clarified further and I asked them, do you mean a physical place matching a non-physical place? Do you mean an actual inner earth existence? So are they talking about a literal physical place somewhere on this earth that matches a non-physical place? Like, for example, the Garden of Eden within the heaven realms. Is there a beautiful, unspoiled, wonderful Garden of Eden type place on this earth? And I'm also asking them, do you mean an actual inner earth existence, as in physical inner earth? And they replied, just as the waters of space and the space within waters are as one, so too is the physical domain, inner earth, and energetic harmonic realities as one, the macrocosm and the microcosm. So in the last update, I talked about how there's water in space. They're saying there's water in space and space within the waters. So we're looking at 0 point as the space within the waters and actual water being in space as well. So there's a mirror between the microcosm and the macrocosm, the outer world, the inner world, the matter, the antimatter. It's all a match, as above, so below. So they're saying the same here, just as the waters of space and the space within waters are one, as in it's the same place. When you take a step back, you see that this is the same place, the same space. There is no time in the true reality. and there is no space in the true reality. All is one moment, and all is one space and place. And in the true reality, time and space are as one. So there's no time that's separate from space. There's no space that's separate from time. Time and space are one in the true reality, as that is 0 point source consciousness. So the waters of space and the space within waters are one. So too is the physical domain, the earth, the physical reality of earth, the inner earth. So as in a reality within the earth. So what I think we're looking at here is fractality of life, as in what is outside the earth is also inside the earth as a fractal. Does this mean this is physical? You know, can you actually go down there into an inner earth and physically, third dimensionally see life and structures and individuals? Or are they meaning that this is a harmonic that is fourth dimensional, fourth density, fifth dimensional, that will come about with the upgrade? So I do question them more and more here, but the inner earth and energetic harmonic realities. So the energetic harmonic realities are the harmonics within each dimension. So within the third dimension, there are multiple harmonic existences. And within the fourth dimension, there are multiple harmonic existences, realities, domains. And in the fifth dimension, there are multiple harmonic realities and domains and existences. So all of these harmonic realities are at one with the physical earth, the physical space of earth, and the inner earth, all being as one with one another. Okay, so I then asked them, as we awaken and learn more and more about our planet and environment, are you saying that we will discover a civilization existing inside the earth, in this physical or etheric, or both? So I'm actually asking them, is this a physical civilization in the inner earth, or is it etheric? Okay, they replied, indeed, you will discover such a civilization, or they will discover you. To the truly awakened and enlightened individual, it matters not if the civilization is physical or etheric, for they are one and the same to the enlightened mind and soul. So that's their reply. They are not saying, yes, it's physical, or yes, it's etheric. They're saying it doesn't matter to the enlightened soul, for they are one and the same. I see what they're saying. Does it really matter? Yes, it would be nice to know. But ultimately, if we are ascending, we're becoming etheric ourselves, as in eventually, we're certainly moving into the light body, and we're becoming higher in density and dimension within our own cellular structure. So yes, I would agree with what they're saying. Does it really matter that if they're physical or not? When physical is an illusion, when we're looking at the true reality and all of those harmonic structures that mirror the fractality of source. Okay, so that was the subject on that, and then I switch over to a slightly different part of the transmission, and I say to them, what did you mean when you said the waters of Earth will regain their charge as pollution is cleared? And this is what they replied. Waters of Earth as flame, letter, metaphor, convergence. The charge within the waters of planetary and physical body, and indeed the waters surrounding the planetary body, have not been able to create the charge needed for source aligned or 0 point aligned energy structure. The waters of Earth that we speak of will regain this charge. This will cause pollution to be cleared from the multiple water systems. The clearing of the pollutions will allow flow once more and thus charge. So they're saying again that waters of Earth has multiple meanings, which I discuss in the interview with Pam anyway. It's a flame letter metaphor convergence. So waters of Earth has multiple meanings. It doesn't just mean the sea or the water. It has multiple meanings. So we're looking at waters in space, waters of Earth. We're looking at liquids. We're looking at the water within the body, the cells. So it's multiple meanings. Etheric water, fluidity, emotion, multiple meanings. The charge within the waters of planetary and physical body, so the planetary waters and the physical body waters that have charge within, and I spoke in the interview with Pam about the salt water and how we both felt there was a charge with the salt water within the seas and within the body. The charge within the waters of planetary and physical body, and indeed the waters surrounding the planetary body. So this is the space water, actual water out in space. Have not been, and indeed the waters surrounding the planetary body and the physical body. So there's water surrounding the planetary body, and they're saying here the waters surrounding the physical body. So the physical body, our physical human body, has water surrounding it as well as within it. So I believe what they're talking about here is the matrix, the auric field contains charge, fluidity, and they're calling it water. Okay, obviously we can't look up and see actual water flying around us, literally, but that is what they're saying. I've been speaking for a while about the charge needed for ascension, for Stargate ascension. And it's the first time that I have realized that that charge, which I have always felt to be energy, health, Kundalini activation, awareness, truth, multidimensionality, the ability to access the Merkaba, and all the things that go with ascension. It's the first time I've realized that this has a physical component. I always knew it had a physical component regarding the DNA, but now I'm realizing that we are actually looking at salt or salts of some kind, salt crystals of some kind within the body, creating charge like it does within the oceans for Stargate ascension. So that's how important this information is here. So the charge within the waters of planetary body and surrounding planetary body, and the charge within the waters within the physical body and surrounding the physical body, as in the matrix, the aura, have not been able to create the charge needed for source aligned or 0 point aligned energy structure. They have not been able to create the charge needed. Now, I know that there have been individuals that have ascended in individual ascension or in small group ascension, but this is the first time we're doing this in collective ascension, as in planetary ascension. So humanity as a whole, Earth as a whole, have not been able to create the charge needed for source aligned or 0 point aligned energy structure. Why? I didn't ask them that, but I have been talking to them recently about other things. And from what I'm hearing from the 9, and I need to talk to them more, this is to do with the inverted matrix and the systems that were created to mimic source aligned systems. So we have these harmonics within dimensions or harmonics within density that have been mimicked in an artificial sense in the 4th dimensional structure, that have been created as blocks in some way, blocks or barriers to the ability to create this charge. So we're talking about actual physical blocks. So we could be looking at chemicals, we could be looking at food, we could be looking at health, education, agriculture, everything. That's been there to shut down the ability to create. And I'm not just talking about the human, I'm talking about the planet, the physical planet. So we are looking at pollution, chemicals in the skies, in the waters. Obviously, I must add, everything I'm talking about here is fiction. It's all part of my fictional novel, which is science fiction, fantasy fiction. It is also with a little bit of the horror genre thrown in here, or dark fantasy, let's say, dark science fiction. These are the genres we're looking at within this fictional novel. So in the novel, there has been a hijack, which I've spoken about many times before, within the planetary structure and within the physical structure to prevent ascension Earth, physically, planetary, and prevent ascension physically, especially Stargate ascension. And this is through the blockages of flow. So we've got blockages within the crystal rivers of light, sight, Schumann resonance, energetic flow, which are the dragon lines and the ley lines of Earth. And we also have that within the meridian systems, which is also the crystal river of light, sight that flows through the Earth and also through the body, the crystal river of light, sight being another flame letter metaphor convergence that they keep talking about. So this is what they're talking about, that the human structure and the planetary structure has not been able to create the charge needed. And when they say for source aligned or 0 point aligned energy structure, what they're talking about Stargate ascension and ascension. So they go on to say the waters of Earth that we speak of will regain this charge, will regain this charge. So that's set across the board. This isn't like the waters might regain the charge, or there's a potential that they will regain the charge. It's probable. They are saying the waters of Earth that we speak of will regain the charge in this reality, in this timeline. It's a set, done deal. Why? And I've questioned them about this. It's part of the inevitability. The inevitability is the convergence at the point of all timelines. It's in every timeline. So it has to happen. This will cause pollution to be cleared from the multiple water systems. Now, how does that happen? Are we talking like magic? Are we going to wake up one morning and all the pollution's wiped out? I would say unlikely. Sometimes people interpret this kind of information. They get these kind of messages and they interpret it as something this fantastical and magical, like a solar flash is going to come along and that solar flash will wipe out all the pollution from the seas. That is not what I feel the 9 are saying here. You're welcome to email me or comment in either of my online groups on Telegram or MeWe, or email me if you think that perhaps I haven't got that right, but I don't think it's going to be like that. However, is there going to be some kind of scientific movement that will be like magic? I would say yes. And what I'm feeling this is more to do with some kind of biological sea growth, possibly a species or a plant material or some kind of molecule that will eat up the pollution. So will there be an animal that eats pollution and thrives on it, that has evolved because of the pollution? I mean, I'm surmising here, but I think that's more likely. And also, will there be human individuals who go out there and clear it as well? Well, yes. So I think this is multi-layered, as it always is. Either way, somehow pollution will be cleared from the multiple water systems. And this could be something galactic. This could be something to do with the sun and with light. Is it going to be one big solar flash one day, at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, and there's been tons of pollution, and you wake up the next day and all the pollution's gone? No, it doesn't work in that quite fantastic way. But could it happen over time to do with sunlight or solar flares or this new species or some product in the sea that we discover, or something that humans find, the good humans, the humans of New Earth who are wanting to clear Earth, humans going out earth healing, having conduits standing with their hands over water. They can clear pollution like that. But that could take time. It might need 100 humans in a circle doing this every day for 5 years. I mean, I'm not saying one person could do it, but they might be able to. So there are multiple ways. The point is, the waters of Earth will regain their charge. Now, if they're regaining their charge, this has to be something to do with the salt, because that's where the charge is. It's to do with ascension, it's to do with activation, Stargate, crystalline light, but it's also to do with the salts. So something is going on with the salts in the waters. And there are obviously waters that are polluted outside of seawater that don't have salts in the same way, but that's where the charge is. So it has to be something to do with the salts. And this will cause pollution to be cleared from the multiple water systems. So they're talking about all the water systems. So let's say municipal water in the taps, that's included. But does that mean that you're going to turn your tap on and all pollutions will be gone? Well, possibly if there's some kind of intervention, but I think possibly it's more to do with the individuals in New Earth discover some kind of filtration, and I believe that's already out there. So these things are all inevitable. They're all part of the inevitability, the singularity that must happen in all timelines, no matter what. And the dark can superimpose, the dark can delay, the dark cannot stop this. And they go on to say, the clearing of the pollutions will allow flow once more and thus charge. So the charge is regained, because they say this will cause pollution to be cleared from the multiple water systems. So the regaining of the charge causes the pollution to be cleared. But then they say the clearing of the pollution allows flow and creates charge. So it's the two together at the same time, simultaneously. The salts creating the charge allow for pollution to be cleared. When the pollution is cleared, this allows flow and allows the salts to charge. It's a two-way simultaneous movement. So it has to be coming from an outside influence and an inside influence. So when it comes to the sea, it's got to be something going on inside the ocean as well as outside the ocean. There's some kind of filtration system, some kind of genius invented water clearance system of some kind, and something going on inside. And I honestly, truly feel that there will be some kind of organism that can eat the pollution. So, yeah. Okay, so I then ask the 9 about another part of the transmission. And I say, what is meant by the false awakening and the false screening of climate Earth? So I know what the false awakening is, and if you want to know more about the false awakening, you can go and watch my video, The False Awakening. But that's presented in the context of the Great Awakening and the False Awakening as a superimposed overlay over the Great Awakening to prevent the Great Awakening, or rather not to prevent it, but to control it, as the Great Awakening is very much a central core point within that singularity and that inevitability, as I've spoken about before. So what is meant by the false awakening and false screening of climate Earth? So this is what they said. We speak here of false assumptions regarding your reality, historically, currently, and thus futuristically. New Earth is built upon the sands of time, nourished by the clean waters of your preserved Earth, the hidden places, unspoilt and untouched, that have never known pollution. So this was the transmission. The rivers have never run dry, and the rose-coloured fish hold the memories of the true water world, given to you via the keys of salts, seas, and ocean vegetation, grown in harmony with neon crystalline underwater cavern kings and great warriors of the tides. So that was the part of the transmission that I then go on to talk about. So I just want to discuss the false awakening and false screening of climate Earth. We speak here of false assumptions. So this is people assuming something about reality, historically, as in history, currently, what's going on now, futuristically, what's likely to happen in the future. There are false assumptions. That's the false awakening and false screening of climate Earth. Why they're talking about climate Earth, I didn't specifically talk about that, but what I feel is that within the novel, something to do with the climate is being used as a tool for false awakening and false screening in the novel, in the fiction. So, false assumptions regarding your reality, historically, currently, and thus futuristically. That is what the false awakening, false screening of climate Earth is. So, the dark structures in the novel, the fictional overlords, have created a false screen of climate Earth. So what they're saying to you in the novel, what the overlords are saying to the Fae in the novel about the climate is false. It's an overlay to the truth. It disguises the truth. But they say historically. So this has been done for a long time. It's not just now. It's been done for years, however long, currently, and thus futuristically. So there is a false assumption about Earth and what Earth is in the novel, in this fictional science fiction novel. There is a false assumption about what Earth actually is and what it can do and what its abilities are and its interaction with humanity historically. So history has not been presented in its truest form in the novel currently, and thus we make probable assumptions and probabilities about where we're going in the future based on where we've been in the past and where we are now. That's what humanity does, and all of them are based on a false premise. So that's what they're saying. So then I went on to look at that little piece of the transmission. New Earth is built upon the sands of time, nourished by the clean waters, etc. So I asked them, can you clarify what you mean by New Earth is built upon, excuse me, New Earth is built upon the sands of time? What do they mean? They replied, sands of time as flame letter metaphor convergence, predominantly referring to the morphogenetic and fluid nature of timelines and probability fields, yet so too we speak of the sands of the earth and the shifting ground structures that shall over time occur as your planet reconstructs into the fourth density structure of its new birthing. So sands of time is a flame letter metaphor convergence, meaning sands of time has multiple meanings. This is all these metaphors are convergences and have multiple meanings, but predominantly, so one of the main meanings of sands of time, a new earth is built upon the sands of time. One of the main meanings of sands of time is referring to the morphogenetic and fluid nature of timelines and probability fields. So when we look at timelines, they are probability fields. They say timelines and probability fields. Timelines and probability fields. Well, timelines are the projection, the trajectory that humanity and Earth are moving in. The probability fields are the probables within those timelines, but each timeline is a probability field in and of itself. Now, the fluid nature, the reason why they're fluid, we have here fluid, fluidity, water. So there's the metaphor again. We have fluidity, we have water-like structure within the timelines of reality, within the fabric of reality itself. That fluidity is because of the reality's response to the thought processes, the cohesive thought processes radiated out from awakened humanity. Or, and it wouldn't be the timelines, but below that there would be this darker structure that would be used for the dark magic in the dark fantasy fiction novel to create overlays to those timelines. So it's like a timeline war, a fight for timelines, a fight for probability playouts, a fight for actuality, which the dark structure's been very, very good at achieving for such a long time, which is why the charge hasn't been able to be created within Earth or humanity, and Stargate Ascension has been prevented for so long, all connected. So Sands of Time predominantly refers to the fluid nature, the morphogenetic and fluid nature, morphogenetic being all that ever has happened, all that is happening now, all that ever will happen throughout all quantum fields, and combined with the thoughts of the planet itself, the galaxy, the mind of the galaxy, the mind of the planet, the planetary brain, the galactic brain, and humanity, and all of the group soul logos structures that humanity are creating. All of that's morphogenetic, and the mapping that one takes when one incarnates again. So one gives to the morphogenetic and one takes from the morphogenetic, one is of the morphogenetic field. New Earth is built on all this. New Earth is built on all this. New Earth is built upon timeline creation from humanity's thoughts and humanity's feelings, humanity's emotions, humanity's actions in conjunction with Earth herself, Mother Earth. That's New Earth. New Earth is built upon that. Somebody wrote a comment actually on our video with Pam Gregory and said, Magenta, it's not New Earth, it's True Earth. So what I would reply to that is, it's both of those. They're both absolutely valid, correct terms to use for what is coming. True Earth. And this person said, we're not going to New Earth, we are returning to True Earth. It's exactly the same thing. We are going to New Earth and we are returning to True Earth. They're both different metaphoric ways of saying the same thing. You can say we're returning to True Earth. Absolutely we are. Of course we are. We're going back to the organic. I have said this over and over again, but obviously the person who wrote the comment may be new to my work. We are going back and forward at the same time. There is no time. But yes, you can call it True Earth. You can call what is coming Gaia, Terra, the higher version of Terra. You can call it Ascended Earth, 5D Earth. You can give it any name you want. You know, you can call this structure whatever you please. It's all the same thing. The 9 talk about New Earth, and the reason why they use New Earth is that is the term that holds the frequency in the highest form for the manifestation of it. So whilst we are returning to True Earth doesn't hold, even though it does hold a structure of truth, especially with the word true in it, it doesn't hold the structure for the manifestation collectively. And the reason why is because everyone is talking about New Earth. They're all saying New Earth. So that's given it mass and weight and kinetic charge within the manifestation fields, which is why I use the term New Earth and will continue to do so. But thank you for saying True Earth. You are correct as well. Okay, so I wanted to clarify that. So can you clarify what is meant by New Earth is built upon the sands of time? Sands of time as flame letter metaphor. Convergence means multiple things, but predominantly referring to the morphogenetic and fluid nature of timelines and probability fields. Yet so too, and they now speak literally, physically, geologically, yet so too, we speak of the sands of Earth. They're actually talking about sand, as in rock that's broken down, actual literal sand. So New Earth is going to have sand and beaches. It's going to have oceans and be by the sea and have the seaside or whatever. It's literal as well as metaphor. We speak of the sands of Earth and the shifting ground structures. Now, am I saying that you're going to be swallowed up in a hole by shifting sand? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there will be structures on the ground that shall, and they do say here, over time, And when they say over time, they usually mean a long time. The shifting ground structures that shall over time occur as your planet reconstructs into the fourth density structure of its new birthing. So this is the geological shifting. The planet itself is actually going to change geologically. And in my book, this one here, this is discussed. I ask the 9 about this, and they do talk about the geology, the fourth density, and what occurs within the shifting. So that's in this book, the Diamond Codex and the Quartz Key. I've got the title there for a minute. Okay, so this is metaphor for actual timeline manifestation. So time, sands of time, but also actual sand as in the structure of the earth. Now, that sounds a bit scary. And I do talk about this also in a recent talk I did at the end of last year, which has just recently been uploaded to my YouTube channel, New Earth Seeding, Your Time is Now. In that transmission, the 9 do again speak about the changing of the geology of the land, the tectonic plates. So if you want to go and listen to that, New Earth Seeding, Your Time is Now, they do discuss that in that talk. But they do say that this isn't something that happens overnight in order to cause problems. However, as I said previously, I did speak in an interview recently about a dream I had where there was rubble and sands and broken, collapsed buildings. And I said it was purely metaphor for the collapse of the structures. But it did actually turn out to be, as I've realized over the last few weeks, it has turned out to be in some areas of the world an actual literal event. So these things that the 9 say are heavily metaphor. Sometimes there's a literal component. So will there be some kind of land shifting that is possibly a problem in some areas? Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I did not think that the dream I had before was in any way literal, but there was actually a literal ground shaking event in the novel. So I will leave that up to you to think about, but I am assured mostly here, because they say the shifting ground structures that shall over time. So that suggests this takes place over time. So because it takes place over time, over a long period of time, then there's less damage because it's not done all in one go. And of course, if you want to know the reasons for the recent shaking, if you have a listen to my poem entitled Mother Earth, the reasons why that occurred is given in that poem. Okay, so the next question I went on to: how is New Earth nourished by the clean waters of our preserved Earth? So this is something they say in the transmission. I'll go back here. Nourished by the clean waters of your preserved Earth. So how is New Earth nourished by the clean waters of our preserved Earth? And they reply, clean waters as flame letter metaphor convergence, predominantly that of preservation within actual geological ground domain, and thus the match within human body, mind, self. Clean waters is that which is toxin-free, pollutant-free, nourishing that which is preserved. So they're saying here, clean waters is a multiple term. Clean waters has multiple meanings. So they're using, yet again, these flame letter metaphor convergences that have multiple meanings. And I have spoken to them about this, and the multiple meaning within a short term like clean waters creates an activation within the listener. So when they receive that, they're receiving the word clean waters, and they may have an instant perception of what that may be in mind, depending on their own level of awareness and expansion. But there's an activation going in because it's a flame letter. The DNA understands what it means. So even if the mind, the conscious mind, thinks clean waters means the sea is clean, the flame letter activation is going directly to the DNA, which knows exactly what all of those convergences are. So that individual then starts to have epiphanies, daydreams, dreams, and the information will come up within them, whether it's that night, that day, or in 10 years' time. And let's hope it doesn't take that long. But you know what I mean. It will come out in them because the activation's gone through. That is what the flame letter metaphor convergence is. It's an activation. So clean waters. So predominantly the meaning here is that of preservation within actual geological ground domain, meaning how is New Earth nourished by the clean waters of our preserved Earth? So what they're saying here is there is some preserved Earth. There is some Earth or domain or ground somewhere that's already been preserved. Preservation within actual geological ground domain. And thus the match within the human body, mind, self. So there's preservation within the human body. There's preservation within the human mind, as in the human self. Does that mean every single human? Well, I can't comment, probably not, given situations, but in some humans, in awake, aware, and I'm not going to say which humans, but we are looking at the Aurora Network Starseed and the awakened and the health conscious and all of those individuals. Preservation within the human body, places that are not polluted on the actual earth and within the human body and within the human mind. So there are individuals that have obviously got toxic minds, polluted minds, but there are those with preserved minds that are not polluted or toxic. So that's what they're talking about. Clean waters. Clean waters. That's what that means. The earth, the human body, the human mind. So clean waters is that which is toxin-free, pollutant-free, nourishing, that which is preserved. So New Earth is nourished by the clean waters. So the clean waters are toxin-free and pollutant-free, and they nourish New Earth. So New Earth, again, is created by the aware, the awake, the ascending, the activated, the innovative, the creative, the loving, the kind, the good, the positively polarized, the service to others individuals. They are nourishing with their very being, their own selves, the humanity that is moving into that, and the earth as well. So clean waters is toxin-free, pollutant-free, and it nourishes the preserved places. So it's all like a feedback system from one another. The earth is nourishing and in harmony with the human, the new human, if you will, the true human, the return to the true human, the birthing of the new human, all the same thing, just like the earth. So that's what that means. Clean waters is nourishing New Earth, the creation of it, the timelines, the thought of it, and the actual physical work for it, as in the planting of the soils and the building of the structures and the ceremonies and the gatherings and the hugging of the trees and whatever it is that the awake aware structures and individuals do. So I went on to ask more about this unpolluted physical place. And I said, well, what are the hidden places, the unspoilt and untouched, that have never known pollution? So this is in the channeling. It actually says here, New Earth is built upon the sands of time, nourished by the clean waters of your preserved earth. The hidden places, unspoilt and untouched, that have never known pollution. Well, where is this? You know, where are these places? And they replied, multiple and many, nirvana, paradise, within as core of infinity structure. So too within the jungles, rainforests, cavernous glowing inner earth structures, below sea level into fortresses preserved and utilized, and gigantic megalithic living structures preserved alongside beast and being deep under the ice. Right, let me just section that bit out because that's a lot. Okay, so hidden places, unspoiled and untouched, that have never known pollution. Multiple and many, the nine are saying. So there are lots of hidden places, lots of unspoiled places, untouched places, as in no one's gone there, no one's been there, untouched, and places that have never known any kind of pollution on this actual Earth. And we know how deep the overlord structure goes when it comes to this, the releasing of the toxins and the pollutants. So somewhere that hasn't happened in the novel. So they then go on to say nirvana, paradise, within as core of infinity structure. So just move that so I can break that down and just look at that as core of infinity structure. So I've spoken before about an infinity structure, which is a structure in and of itself that is an infinity. So that could be a human being, a planet, a galaxy, a star, an idea, a thought, a concept, a business, an emotion. It's all of those things. And if you read Infinite Helix and the Emerald Flame, then that is discussed in great depth in that book. So the core of an infinity structure is the core point that radiates out into that infinity structure. So the core point is what gives the infinity structure the life that matches what it is. So paradise as a core point could be a timeline. So the paradise timeline or the nirvana timeline is the ascension timeline, the new earth timeline, the true earth timeline, whatever you want to call it. It's the timeline where everyone moves into this awakening. And so you could have, I've spoken before about the iron core structure, which is the nearest, more metallic, that's the way that the inverted structure looked to me, that it was more a metallic and more like iron because of the sound that it made psychically. I now know more than I did when I first talked about that, the iron core structure, and I do have a video on this. I now know more that that's actually an artificial intelligence iron core structure, but I didn't know that at the time. So, you know, if you have an iron core, an AI iron core, then that gives the whole structure. And it's not really an infinity structure because those structures are finite. An infinity structure would have the light core, the diamond core, or a paradise or nirvana, service to others, core that reverberates out through the structure. So say it's an individual, there would be a core within that individual that is their integrity, their sovereignty, the diamond heart, the diamond sun heart. And that's all in this book. And that explains all about that and what that is as a core point to a person. So they're saying that the hidden places, unspoiled and untouched, that have never known pollution, are those core points within the human that's incarnated into that service to others positively polarized structure and has lived that life for that. And also not just as an individual, but also as a group. And again, this book explains how an infinity structure joins with another infinity structure to create infinite infinities, and why that is relevant to us for our Stargate ascension process collectively. So that's what they mean when they talk about the hidden places, the unspoiled and untouched, that have never known pollution, the geometry of the structure. So going into the more physical geological aspect to this. They say so too within the jungles. Now, they haven't said that jungles is a flame letter metaphoric convergence. So what they're meaning here, clearly, by not saying that, is actual jungles, actual physical jungles on this planet. Rainforests, again, it's not presented as a metaphor. So they're talking about actual rainforests on this planet. Cavernous, glowing inner earth structures. So by that, I take it to mean that they're caverns, or cavernous as in cavern-like, or cavern-shaped as in cave-like, glowing. So we are looking here at neon structures. So that could be some kind of preserved light that grows in these caves. It could be a plant. It could be an animal. I have already got videos on where the transmissions speak about the neon and the luminous structures that are part of this true Earth system, new Earth system. So that's what that means, cavernous, glowing. So there's some kind of light that's natural and organic. I mean, mushrooms, I know mushrooms can give off this. I know that certain algae, like spirulina, in certain forms can give off this sort of neon glow. It's like, it's a plant or an animal that is full of this, like ormus or that sort of thing. So that's what they're talking about, that there are caves somewhere on this planet with glowing inner earth structures. So that could be like ice, it could be rocks, crystals, it could be crystals. When they talk about glowing, it could be crystals catching the light, it could be diamonds. So that's what they're meaning. There's something like that somewhere on this earth, and they are saying multiple and many. Below sea level, so they're not saying that this is under the sea, they're saying below sea level. So this is underground, into fortresses preserved. Well, again, they have not said that this is metaphor. So a fortress is something you can't access, something, I presume, that is cut off, like a castle, I would presume, but I'm sure they don't mean it's a castle. But fortresses preserved. So what I would say that this is some kind of preservation of previous civilization structures. Atlantis, Lemuria, I would say Atlantis. So we've got some preserved buildings and structures, fortresses, but it's not metaphor, I think, from previous civilizations. And then they say below sea level into fortresses, below sea level into fortresses preserved and utilized. So these fortresses, not only are they preserved, they're utilized. So they're being utilized in some way by someone, and they are these hidden places that are unspoiled and unpolluted. And then they say, and gigantic, megalithic, living structure preserved alongside beast. So they're talking about huge megalithic. So megalithic, I presume, means a structure that is like a city, a structure that's like a town, a structure that's like a world in and of itself, with multiple levels to it. I presume that's what megalithic means. You're welcome to email me if you have more information on what megalithic means, but I presume it would mean a structure that has multiple aspects to it. Gigantic, megalithic, living structure. So they say living structure. So this structure, this gigantic megalithic structure below sea level into fortresses preserved and utilized. That's one thing. And gigantic megalithic livings. So this structure that's gigantic and megalithic is alive. It's alive in some way. Preserved alongside beast. So some kind of animal, some kind of living structure. Beast, animal could also mean human. It could also mean beast-like human. I mean, they aren't saying this is metaphor, so this is a literal thing. Deep under the ice. So somewhere in the world is ice, and deep, deep, deep underneath it are these gigantic megalithic structures that are alive. They are preserved alongside beasts or animals. So there's some kind of living ecosystem, I presume, there. So I then asked them the question, and I will say we are discussing the fictional novel here. And my question was, when you say deep under the ice, do you mean Antarctica, which is a place in the novel Antarctica? And that's what I'm asking about. It's a fictional village in a fictional novel full of fiction. Anyway, they replied, that is one place you may know by that name, and beyond into nether regions and forbidden zones. So they're saying yes to Antarctica in the novel, in the fictional novel. They're saying yes to that. That is one place you may know by that name. But that's not the only place, because they then say, and beyond into nether regions and forbidden zones. So what they're basically saying here is there's other places beyond Antarctica that are nether regions, as in outside of what we know of the life within Earth. So this is still Earth, but it's not in where we know Earth to be. We've been given a map of Earth in the novel, in the fictional novel. We've been given a map of Earth, and that's what we think Earth is, but there's something else that we haven't been told about. And forbidden zones, as in they are zones that are forbidden. Why? Who is forbidding? Who's doing the forbidding? And why are they forbidden zones? Why are we forbidden to go there? Is it because of nature? Is it because of we can't breathe there? Is there no oxygen? Or is something or someone creating it to be forbidden? I haven't asked the 9, and obviously I probably should have done, but I didn't ask them that. So that's something I'll have to come back to. So going back to what they said, the rivers have never run dry, and the rose-coloured fish hold the memories of the true water world, given to you via the keys of salts, seas, and ocean vegetation, grown in harmony with neon crystalline underwater cavern kings and great warriors of the tides. So I then asked them the question, you said the rivers have never run dry, and that rose-coloured fish hold the memories of the true water world. What are these memories? And so the 9 replied, we speak of cellular, pre-incarnate, and ancestral memory preserved within structure. One of these structures would be rose-coloured fish that exist within these unspoilt regions that have been preserved unbeknownst to the majority of humanity. So what they're saying here, when I ask, you said the rivers have never run dry, and that rose-coloured fish hold the memories of the true water world. What are the memories? So that was my question. What are the memories? And they replied, cellular, so deep, at deep cellular level, pre-incarnate, so memories before incarnation, and ancestral, as in memories that go down the ancestral line through our ancestors and are passed down to us. So you've got pre-incarnate memory, memories from previous incarnations, memories from ancestors, and cellular memories deeply buried within the cellular structure. Are they one and the same thing? I would say yes in most circumstances, having spoken to the 9 about this before. But they're presenting all three, and they may well be different in some people. Cellular, pre-incarnate, and ancestral memory preserved within structure. So they're saying that these memories are preserved in structure, as in humans, and the bones and the cellular structure of the human, or buildings and stone. But the structure they're talking about is rose-coloured fish. So there are fish that hold cellular, pre-incarnate, and ancestral memory. Rose-coloured fish that exist within these unspoilt regions that have been preserved unbeknownst to the majority of humanity. So they're talking here, they're not saying that the fish is a metaphor. I know fish is Pisces and everything, it could well be, but they're not presenting this necessarily as metaphor. They're presenting this as actual fish with memory that exist within these unspoilt regions. So within these unspoilt regions, these paradise, Garden of Eden type, unspoiled, unpolluted regions of Earth, there are rose-coloured fish. So I then replied, why do these rose-coloured fish hold these memories? And they replied, all unspoilt and toxin-free structures hold memory. For life and creation is holographic and fractal. The whole exists within each part. So all unspoiled and toxin-free structures, whether that's building, an animal, a fish, a crystal, a human, a planet, a star, an idea, all unspoiled and toxin-free structures hold memory. Hold memory. So there's memory in all unspoiled toxin-free structures, buildings, water, the human, animals, the galaxy, the mind, anything unspoiled and toxin-free holds memory. For life and creation is holographic. So you have source that is not just radiated outwards into particles of itself, as in each piece is an aspect of it. Holographic means that every piece radiated is it. Every single structure radiated out from source is source, replicated just from the original and is a copy. So every single one is holographic, and the whole can be seen within any part of it. And if you try to splice it or move it or cut it, you will only get the whole yet again. Life and creation is holographic and fractal, meaning that the whole holographic piece moves outwards from the inside or holds the perception of moving from the inside of the original structure. So source emanates outwards, multiple smaller pieces of itself that are itself and whole. The whole exists within each part. So anything unspoiled, anything toxin-free is source. That's why it holds memory, because it's source. So if you as a person are unspoiled and toxin-free, and that's trauma, toxins, emotions, thoughts, whatever it may be, what you do, your action, your words, if you are toxin-free and unspoiled, you'll have memory. These memories will come up, and they are there in all the structures that are unspoiled and toxin-free. And that's why the fish hold them, because the fish are unspoiled and toxin-free. They're the fish living a natural fish life, so they're holding memory. I asked, when you say rose-coloured fish, do you mean salmon? Because it's the only fish I can think of that's that colour. And they said, we refer to the sea creatures you would know as fish that hold the rose crystalline memory fields, as in activated plasma flow within the meridian streams of their bodies, The sun reflects within the waters upon this Neptunian world, and the fish and other sea creatures appear to take on a rose-coloured hue within and upon their bodies. Yet so too do we refer to the rose ray awareness, rose gold flame, within those of the Piscean age or sign of Pisces, within the 13 sign astrological presentation. So as I said earlier, they might mean Pisces when they're talking of fish, and they've now confirmed in that they do. And I haven't read this for a couple of weeks, well, however long since I did the last piece. I haven't read this. So yes, it's about a week and a half. Okay, so when you say rose-coloured fish, do you mean salmon? We refer to the sea creatures you would know as fish. So they're saying, yes, they're fish. They're not saying they're salmon necessarily. They're saying they're fish. I don't know what kind of fish, but these are fish that hold the rose crystalline memory fields. So these are fish that hold source memory that is fractal and holographic. The rose being this cleared, toxin-free meridian system. So the rose line within the earth is the meridian systems cleared from hijacking and the awakening of the dragon, the laying of the dragon eggs. The rose line is the flow within the meridian systems. So this would be the flow within the fish, because they're unspoiled and toxin free. So that's why they have the rose crystalline memory fields. They have clear memory because there's no toxins in their body. As in activated plasma flow within the meridian streams of their bodies. Yes, as I just explained. The sun reflects within the waters. So the sun is reflecting in the waters where the fish are upon this Neptunian world. So we are looking at an underwater world. So it seems to me that this isn't just fish, it's sea life. That's what I would say. A Neptunian world, sea life and sea plants and an unspoiled water. That's what they're saying. And the fish and other sea creatures, so yes, it's not just fish, it's other sea creatures, appear to take on a rose-coloured hue because the sun reflects within the waters. Now, why rose? Why pink? It's very interesting because when I did the interview with Pam Gregory, I did have, I would say, tons and tons of emails, but out of those emails, I would say probably at least maybe just under 10 talking about the rose, the pink raindrops and the rose-coloured fish. And one person told me about pink dolphins, that they were aware of pink dolphins in their awareness. So a lot of people were talking about this pink glow and pink rose-coloured animals and these pink raindrops. So there's something to do with rose and pink within an unspoiled reality. And if you look at my book, The Black Box Program and the Rose Gold Flame as Antidote, the Rose Gold Flame is the connection within that connects you to the Schumann resonance, the crystal river of light site. The people that have bought the Black Box Program book, that have done that work on themselves to create this toxin-free, pollutant-free environment in order to stand as antidote to the toxins mentioned within the book, within the fictional world. The individuals that have done that will have been adding to the collective thought process and the collective manifestation for New Earth. So they will have been individuals that were working in grid work sense, as in clearing all of these, this sort of electrical AI sludge that was placed into the meridians of the human body and of the planetary body, and in certain galactic streams. They would have been working as grid workers to clear all of that. So that's all explained in Black Box Program and the rose gold flame as antidote. So it's no surprise to me that these are rose crystalline memory fields, and that there is a reflection of the sun within the waters upon this Neptunian world, beautiful underwater world. And the fish and the other sea creatures appear to take on a rose-coloured hue within and upon their bodies. So these fish are rose-coloured fish due to the activated flow and the fact that they soak up this reflection from the sun living within this unspoiled sea life, Eden, Nirvana, paradise. Sounds wonderful. Love to see it. So yeah. They then went on to say, yet so too do we refer to the rose ray awareness. So this is the awareness of that which leads to ascension through purity. So we're looking at, when we look at the silver ray or the silver flame and the gold ray and the gold flame, so we're looking at masculine and feminine, when they merge together as one, they create rose gold, which is the aspect of the Trinity. So when the male and the female come together as one and create the child or whatever they create together, whether it's a structure or a human or planets, that is the third presentation, the creation. That's the rose gold, and that is the 0 point creation. That is the Trinity, that creates the Trinity, which then creates unity. So all of this is mirrored upon that source presentation, that holographic presentation of source that the 9 are referencing here. Okay. Yet so too do we refer to the rose ray awareness, rose gold flame. So I've spoken about the rose gold flame in the book, the Black Box Program, and the rose gold flame. The rose gold flame connects also to twin flame awareness, the Trinity awareness, the higher heart, which is pink and rose, which Pam picked up on in the interview that I did with her. Within those of the Piscean age, or sign of Pisces, within the 13 sign astrological presentation. So the Piscean age is, well, I thought astrologically we were in the Piscean age moving into the Aquarian age. The 9 speak about Pisces and Aquarius as if they're two sides of the same coin. But when they say or sign of Pisces within the 13 sign astrological presentation, obviously I'm not studied enough in astrology, but as Pam and I said, the 13 sign is in the center, which would be the core, like a diamond core, a paradise core. So the 13 sign astrological presentation is an infinity structure. I would say the sign of Pisces would be, this is my analysis, my opinion, would be all awakened individuals, which would be the Aurora network, the those that are going through ascension. I would say all awakened starseeds, all the Aurora network, are under the sign of Pisces within the 13 sign astrological presentation. And they move into that when they become aware. But that's just me. And I'm probably being quite linear and basic there. And it's something else I would need to discuss with the 9 to talk to me more about. Okay, so we've got through a lot here. My final question with these questions, and I can't understand why I thought we'd get through all this in 1 hour with myself and Pam. So my final question to the 9 here is, what are keys of salts, seas, and ocean vegetation? Keys of salts, seas, and ocean vegetation. What are they? And the 9 said, key codes that remain as memory, activating structures, DNA transforming, catalyzing substance to be found within crystals you know as salts, within the ocean, waters, life and structure within, memory at cellular and subatomic level, and the vegetations, unspoiled and toxin-free, that grow in abundance. That was what they replied. Let's break that down. Keys of salts, seas, and ocean vegetation are key codes that remain as memory activating structures. So this would be something that activates your cellular memory, your ancestral memory, your pre-incarnate memory, your source memory, that aspect of you that's holographic and fractal and is source. So these keys of salt, seas, and ocean vegetation are key codes that activate that source memory. Key codes that remain as memory activating structures and DNA transforming, catalyzing substance. Let's just have a look at that. DNA transforming, so this is from carbon-based to crystalline, transforming from third dimensional to fifth dimensional. And if you want to use the metaphor of a double helix, 2-stranded DNA into the 12-stranded DNA, or quantumly the 144-strand DNA, that's all in infinite helix and the emerald flame. You can use that metaphor to explain this. It's returning to the true organic. I think this is why the person posted on Pam's video saying it's return to true earth, not going to new earth. As I said, it's the same thing. But this person's right. We are returning to true earth. We are returning to true organic structure. But it's new because it's come with all of this learning that we've accumulated since we were shut down and hijacked. It's new. Before the hijack, it was pure. It goes back to being pure with knowledge. And that's the journey of source in and of itself. Source, if you look at the journey of source in a linear sense, source starts as innocent and goes through the journey, and source remains innocent with knowledge. So it's accumulation of knowledge. So it is still a new structure. So key codes that remain as memory activating structures. So the keys of salts, seas, and ocean vegetation activate cellular memory, ancestral memory, pre-incarnate memory, and assist in transforming DNA from carbon-based to crystalline, DNA transforming, catalyzing substance. So this is a catalyst to that transformation of DNA from double helix to 12-stranded, from carbon-based to crystalline. And this substance is to be found within crystals that you know as salts. So these salts that I was talking about with the interview with Pam, these salts are crystals. They are salt crystals. And that's why they have charge, and that's why they're alive, because they're crystals. So if you look clairvoyantly within the salt, you're going to see crystals. They're crystals, just like the DNA are crystals, just like the pineal gland contains crystals. And the pineal gland contains fluid. So the fluid with the crystals is what gives you the sight. It's what allows you to see into multidimensional realities. It's what allows you to see within your dreams and see within your out-of-body experiences, and it's what activates when you raise the Kundalini. So this is all the same thing. Salts, seas, and ocean vegetation are keys and catalysts to DNA transforming substances, memory activating substances to be found within crystals that you know as salts within the ocean waters. So these crystals are found within the sea, life and structure within. So, sorry, I've just had an epiphany here. I just didn't realize. It seems to me, and I've only just realized this, having brought through this transmission and looking at all this analysis, it seems to me, and this is, wow, this is profound. My mind is a bit blown. Right. Okay. So the pineal gland acts as a conductor for light, allowing the DNA to transform through the formed images seen via the pineal gland through out-of-body experience and visionary states. But if those same salts are within the sea, then does that not mean that the oceans of the planet, when they're unspoiled and unpolluted, act as a giant pineal gland for Earth? And the pineal gland isn't just about seeing, it's creating. It creates plasmic structures, vision, it creates what is seen. It actually creates plasma. It's all in both of these books, The Infinite Helix and the Emerald Flame, and Diamond Codex and the Quartz Key. It creates like a liquid light plasma that then forms and becomes physical within the actuality. So that's how the geology of the land will change into fourth density through the pollution clearing from the sea, will then beam out this pineal gland resonance that we have in our bodies through the seas, because the salts in the seas act in the same way as the crystals in our pineal gland. So the seas are like a giant pineal gland, meaning the seas are a giant camera, a giant projector, a giant plasma creator. And everything in the sea and all the life within the sea, holding all the memory, is continuing to connect with the morphogenetic field and create evolution for the planet and ascension for the planet. I've only just realized that. I've only just realized that the ocean water is the same as the fluid and the crystals in our pineal gland. It generates the charge to allow you to move into the Merkaba. It allows you to fly as the Merkaba through the antimatter fields. So it allows planet Earth to do the same thing when the seas hold charge. So that makes absolute sense. I've been thinking for so many years about the hijack on the land within the ley lines and the dragon lines and all this sludge and pollution that's been placed in there energetically through the inverted matrix and AI systems to stop the planet from ascending. But I didn't think about the seas, and that's why the seas have been so heavily polluted. That's why it's not just to prevent humanity from having access to seafood or from being able to swim freely in the sea and access all the healing. It's to present the pineal gland activation and the Kundalini of Earth itself. I always knew that the ley lines, the Nine have told me this, I knew the ley lines were part of Earth's Kundalini as the energy flows through, but I hadn't realized that the seas and the oceans were part of Earth's Kundalini equally, just like we have the pineal. Wow. So I've only just realized that, and that's amazing. Gosh. DNA transforming, catalyzing substance to be found within crystals, as salts, within the ocean water's life and structure within. Memory at cellular and subatomic level. So cellular, deep within the cells, holding this memory that is, as I've said, pre-incarnate, ancestral, and also source memory, and subatomic. So that is and I discussed this in the interview with Pam, subatomic level being beyond the atom to the smallest point, I believe. Not really biologically trained here, but that would be the smallest level. So there's memory right down to the subatomic level, because each little subatom is also a fractal of source. And the vegetations, unspoilt and toxin free, that grow in abundance. DNA transforming catalyzing substance to be found within crystals, as salts within the ocean waters, life and structure within, memory at cellular and subatomic level, and the vegetations, unspoiled and toxin-free, that grow in abundance. Now, the question is, what are keys of salt seas and ocean vegetation? They're talking about the vegetation in the sea. They're talking about toxin-free, unspoiled vegetation within the sea. They're talking about sea vegetables and seaweeds. That's what they're talking about here, the vegetation that grows within the sea. So what they're saying here is the vegetation within the seaweeds and the sea vegetables hold these keys of salts, these catalysts. So catalysts for ascension and for memory, for Stargate ascension, are going to be found within these unspoiled, toxin-free sea vegetables. Now, I knew about this somewhat with the information that came forward from Lessons from a Living Lemuria. I knew about the sea vegetables because the Nine speak about that in that book, because they had these in Lemuria. And obviously in Lemuria, this would have been something that they would have access to. They would have had access to the unspoilt seas and the vegetation, which is why I go back to that film, Avatar, The Way of Water, because when you're looking at the underwater scenes, that's exactly how it would be. The harmony, the salts, the crystals, being in the mind of planet Earth. You're actually swimming through planet Earth's pineal gland. When you're swimming in the seas in that way, you're actually immersing yourself in memory itself, the memory of the Earth. So all of this has been hijacked for so many years with this dark inverted system, this artificial system. And now this is being reclaimed. This is being reclaimed. And I've said it over and over again, but now the epiphany regarding the sea, and I did this amazing interview with Pam, and it was wonderful, and it was really wonderful to hear her astrological take on all the metaphors, but obviously we didn't get through all the information I've written down, so I'm really happy to have continued and made these 2 follow-up videos, and you have just witnessed me have a revelation, an epiphany right in front of you, because whilst I knew water was significant, and that was the whole reason of talking to Pam, but the information had only recently come through this year. I hadn't had any information about water in this way. Yes, they've discussed messages in water and the importance of the work of Masaru Emoto. They have discussed that to me before, and I did go and see him live about 6-7 years ago. And listen to his work, which is fabulous. So I knew about the messages in water. And then when I watched that film, Frozen, the second one, Frozen 2, and she goes to the ice sculptures and gets the memories, I'm sat there like, wow, this is so true. There are memories in the ice. But I did not ever realize that the sea, the ocean, unspoiled and unpolluted, is potentially Earth's pineal gland and can do what we do with our pineal. It's Earth's site, the apex of the Kundalini, the ability to allow Earth's body to ascend. So the seas have to be cleared. The pollution has to be cleared in order for Earth to ascend and go through ascension, which she absolutely will, because anyone who has any clairvoyant sight through the pineal gland will see the ascended Earth, the new Earth, the true Earth, whatever you want to call it. It's all of those things. So, yeah, wow. So that's me analysing the final notes and information from the Nine regarding this fascinating subject. I just want to give a massive thanks to Pam Gregory, because it was her who suggested we get together and do this talk when we met up at an event where we live, and she was the one that suggested let's get together, because she was getting all the mermaid energy information and water and everything, and I thought great, and I'm really happy that Pam suggested this. And that's enabled me not only to bring forward information to you from the 9, but for me to sit here and have an epiphany right in front of you about it as well. I will be asking the 9 far more about this. I will be bringing forward more information. As I said, some of it is touched on in my latest book. And this kind of work here is a continuation, really, of that. So, and thank you to all of you for watching. I'm really pleased you've all enjoyed the interview with Pam. I had so many amazing comments and emails. And I'm really glad that you loved that. And I'm sure Pam and I will come together again in the future and talk about something else. So stay tuned for that. But thank you so much for watching, because this is a long video. I hope I haven't bored you. And I will see you all again soon. Bye. I am just so happy to be able to announce to you that my new book is available. The Diamond Codex and the Quartz Key, accessing the accelerated Stargate system through crystalline transformation of the genetic code. What does it mean to transmute one's DNA from carbon-based to crystalline within the context of spiritual enlightenment and physiological evolution? Practical templates for photonic light gene expression, alchemical unification, and light body activation are provided within this channeled transmission, delivering this codex at a time within humanity's awakening and expansion when synchronicity is abundant. The mysteries of the accelerated Stargate system as an intelligent living infinity structure call the starseeds of Earth to remember why they are incarnated here and what they came here to do. The downloads, epiphanies, and realizations that will organically come to each starseed as they immerse themselves within this sacred text are catalysts for those memories. Introducing Dreamwalker, the story, presented through my interdimensional dialogue with the monadic light structure that is the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. This book has been such an absolute delight and joy to transcribe from the 9, and I truly hope you enjoy reading it. Available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle.